with Faraz Shaukat.
And top of the morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and with our new little set. And our guest this morning is my friend, my colleague, former diplomat, journalist, Bandula Jayasekara. Morning, Bandula.
Good morning, Faraz.
It's wonderful having you. We haven't done this for a while.
And it's good to have a new set for us.
Indeed, it is. All it took was a 3-second conversation.
And you have changed places.
I have changed places. I'm not sure that my left leg will like this. But anyhow, Bandula, the Supreme Court has nullified this VAT bill. The Prime Minister says that it's been given stepmotherly treatment. Do you agree?
I don't agree, because I think stepmotherly treatment for us is always on us, the masses. So
Indeed.
I think, I don't think whatever the politician, whoever the party, I think the people have suffered. So I don't think, Prime Minister said it, but that's not acceptable.
But the strange part of this exercise is that I don't know if the people remember, because, in Sri Lanka people tend to be rather myopic. But I think the VAT was around 20% in the last administration at one point. And how do you think, Bandula, that they managed to have it at 20% and it didn't have all these Supreme Court rulings and so on? It just was imposed on the people and we had to pay it. What do you think went wrong there?
So maybe...
Shall I tell you what the answer is? The answer is that nobody dared to challenge it in the court during those years, which meant that there was a sort of fear psychosis, wasn't it?
Well, that is what I think Prime Minister has said, that also, that we will not interfere with the judiciary.
That's
he has
right.
mentioned that.
Yeah. So we must acknowledge those.
And he's not going to impeach or anything. So I think that's democracy. That's important.
That's democracy. Democracy in action. But now, what happens to all these people who paid this higher rate of VAT?
Ideally, they should refund.
They should.
And I saw some telephone companies, the mobile phone companies, they are saying they plan to refund, but I don't know how they will do it.
Well, it'll be easy for them to refund because there's a number,
yes.
So they can just credit it back onto the number, or people who pay a bill can just credit it back onto the bill. People on Kit Connections can get a credit put on their phone.
But it will be difficult for you and people like Faisal Mustafa on the snack bills and all that.
It would be.
Get the refund.
That would be rather difficult, really, But, we need to be mindful, Bandula, don't we, that most things seem to be, they talk about it, but it never comes to a logical conclusion. Shall we go through some of these contentious matters?
Yes.
So the first of these contentious matters happened in the last days of February 2015. That was the bond issue, because they got elected in January, in February, the bond issue. So 15 months later, the president, quite rightly, put his foot down and said enough is enough. I'm not having anyone suspect or contentious or whose integrity has been questioned. That's what the bottom line is. That's what John Exeter said. But now, Bandula, we have this strange phenomena where the Prime Minister has appointed the man that the Auditor General says didn't act professionally enough and cost the loss of several millions of rupees, billions actually. We've got the same man appointed as an advisor to the Prime Minister.
For us, that's the same thing what the former president did. If you look at it, we got to be fair.
Yeah.
But he also played the game of chess. Okay, if you do something wrong, okay, he'll take you out and put you somewhere else, or made them advisors. So I think people were not happy with that. That's why there was change of government.
Yeah.
So this present government should not do that, but they are doing the same thing.
I think all of Sri Lanka bemoans the fact that we don't have strong, committed leadership. Let's listen to this clip of the founding father of the state of Singapore. Let's listen to this clip and we'll then see what we quite mean. Let's see.
I offered them two choices. Either you argue, you stop this intimidation, which is what it was, bringing SIA right down, disrupting services, ruining its reputation, millions of dollars worth of advertisements and sales ruined within a matter of 2 weeks. I gave them a choice. Continue this, and I will, by every means at my disposal, teach you and get the people of Singapore, help me teach you a lesson you won't forget. And I'm prepared to start all over again. Or stop it. Get back to work, restore discipline, then argue your case. Took them 65 minutes. And they decided, okay, it isn't worth the fight. Why? Because they know they'll lose. They know that I'm prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this.
And that was Lee Kuan Yew, the founding father of Singapore. Such powerful words. He didn't make no bones about it. He was quite ready to shut Singapore Airlines down and restart if he had to. And several days later, the pilots backed off. As Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew said, they knew that it wasn't worth fighting him, because he was committed to progress, and he's as he said, he'd spent a lifetime in making a change. He wasn't going to let some people come and barter that for anything else. He was committed. Well, why can't we have committed politicians like that?
I think for us, President Premadasa tried to do things like that, because I know he woke up before his officials. He woke them up. He said start when he went into detail. I think he tried, but it was unfortunate that he had to leave us. But he tried, and he went to the grassroots. He understood the people. He tried his best.
Indeed. We have that system there. When we look at our own airline, it is such a sad state of affairs. Since Emirates left and they were doing the management, it's not that they were any different, but they were different because they were committed to achieving a bottom line. And as long as they were left alone to get on with running the airline, they did. And I think we had Dr. Amanugama tell us that the Treasury actually received a return from them. But here we had the last government who put in charge a planter, or in charge of the airline.
A tea planter.
A tea planter. Very, very interesting and very valid and important industry, of course, tea to our country. But you know, I would rather have had him run something to do with plantations. You know, single origin, single estate, single region.
But it's the same with the present government, isn't it?
That's right.
You have
we have somebody who knows very good things about how to sell coffee, and the coffee shops in Colombo are testament to his acumen. But it's rather suspect because do you know? I was speaking to some Sri Lankan Airlines pilots, and they said that there is this misconception that the proposed purchase of the A350 aircraft was purely to do with making a commission. Well, they said that's a possibility, but the technical reason is that on the A330s, this pilot was telling me that if you had a full cargo load, you couldn't have a full passenger load because the plane couldn't take it on a direct flight. So you had to reduce the payload. And the way you did that was you didn't sell 16 seats. By not selling 16 seats, they calculated this to cost the airline $20,000 every flight. So a round trip to London would cost the airline a penalty of $40,000 because they couldn't fill it up. They couldn't fill both cargo and the passengers. The A350 didn't offer them that sort of impediment. They could have full cargo, full passengers, and multiply that by many flights to Paris, to Frankfurt, to Zurich. Then you begin to realize why they had that plan. But that was the plan of this previous CEO. We'd love to know what the plan is right now.
For us now, if you look at the minister, we have a, I think, honorable minister in Kabir Hashim, who's heading, who's in charge of Sri Lankan Airlines, but I think he should be given a free hand. I saw it like on social media how he travel economy class on a private visit. But it's good if he's given a free hand to make this place a better one, a better clean place. And there on one of our TV programs, we showed it. It was a CNN clip. We showed it to one of the cabinet ministers how the chairman of Japanese Airlines, one of the profit-making airlines, how he travels by bus, he moves with the staff. But I asked that minister, why can't our CEOs and chairmen do the Sri Lankan Airlines? He had no answer. So these are profit-making airlines. So I think that's, and we are top-heavy. That's another problem.
We certainly are top-heavy. Sri Lankan Airlines is, if you compare it to other traditional airlines of the world, there is a standard of how many staff, total staff per aircraft.
And also, I don't know whether what your thoughts are, but then there came a budget airline, Mihinna.
But you can't have, there's no successful budget airline in the world that is owned entirely by a government. Budget airlines are passionate about costs. The founder of Ryanair, when we asked him for what is his success and what do you need to do to run a budget airline, he said it's very simple. You need to be passionate about cost. Ryanair will probably soon fly you for free because every bit is broken down into a commercial opportunity. The seats are branded, everything's done. I think controversially, he even wanted to charge passengers to use the toilet.
And also for us, I have noticed, Sri Lankan Airlines or our airlines, where they want to check about the facilities. But these top people I've seen, they fly business class. They should fly economy class if they want to check about the facilities, what the passengers think. I've seen, and they get the best facilities.
Indeed.
And how can they find out about the facilities?
You see, the thing, Bandula, is that there is a need, because of the way our election funding happens, there is a need to look after your supporters. Of course there is. We have to admit that. However, there is also a need for professionalism, don't you think? I mean, definitely. If your friend has, or some Mudalali, or some businessman, or whoever, or some stock broker or investor has donated a lot of money to help you in your campaign, you clearly have some sort of obligation.
It is true, but for us, I think the government should not run businesses, period. That should be they should not run businesses. Now take other countries.
That's right.
The airports, it's privatized. Why can't, if they want to run a country, generate employment, why should government run business? So they want to now take the port or some of the media organizations or like run by the government, they stuff people. They can't manage. That's what they are losing.
Indeed, indeed. We'll go for a short break, Bandula, and then come back. Do stay with Newsline. We'll be back after this short message. Don't go away.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Good morning again, and welcome back to Newsline, where my guest this morning is the one and only, the inimitable Bandula Jayasekara. How are you, Bandula?
Fine for us.
Now, Bandula, this government seems to be struggling. We've got the chairman of the IPS, Dr. Razin Saleh, professor attached to the Singapore University, the School of Public Policy there. Perhaps we could
He's been very outspoken.
Indeed, he has been. Let's listen to what Professor Saleh has to say on Sri Lanka's economy.
There has been the supreme idiocy of extra price controls, which I thought was something that we had left behind in 1977. But in addition to what was announced in the first budget, there have been new price controls. The government, by creating inflation and by having import protection, puts burdens on consumers and then puts new burdens on producers and entrepreneurs in the form of tax controls. The message sent out is that this is about market busting rather than market facilitating. It sends very mixed and contradictory signals. Monetary policy was, in my view, far too loose following the excesses of this fiscal policy. I don't want to go into the detail here. I welcome very much the excellent appointment of the new governor. I think he understands the situation very well, as his comments displayed. The task of central banking is fundamentally to ensure macroeconomic stability at its core, price stability, not to compound the errors of fiscal policy. So
the supreme idiocy of price controls, which Professor Razin Saleh thought had been left behind in 1977. It has returned. We're going backwards here, Bandula.
Looks like.
And we seem to have a problem because I think it was so much as expected of this government, and for some reason or other, the perception is that the United National Party is the party capable of achieving economic goals and greatness. They've not been associated with great political achievements, but they've always been associated with economy.
And because of the business backing and the business
backing. So business backs the UNP, but business can't be very happy right now because most businessmen say, well, nothing's happening.
I would say first the bad example was set by, it's sad, but we have to go back again on this subject, the bond issue. That's why it started. You said it happened 15 months ago.
That's right.
And it went on for 15 months and it's repeated.
And Bandula, there's no logical conclusion. Why is it so oh, well, okay, we're doing it. The Copes put out enough of reports about everything else.
Because the previous government failed because of their inaction. So the people expected action.
Correct.
From this government. When they delay and then they repeat the same mistakes, people lose hope and faith.
They do, and they lose faith. I think that's the issue. The integrity of the government is becoming more and more questioned.
But what's the alternative?
The alternative is, and this is a good point, most people think that when we highlight corruption and so on, that we are looking for change. They're absolutely right. We are looking for change in the way the government is run. We are not looking to change governments. We want them to deliver on the promises.
We want accountability.
We want accountability. And as you know, when we went on our Gammadda programs, it was shocking, wasn't it? The level of the state of rural Sri Lanka.
And also for us, even the present government, they are not taking any responsibility. They should admit the same. Okay, so many advisors, like the ministers.
We have one minister,
Lakshman
Kiriali, 65 or
ministers,
like that.
Advisors plus coordinators,
exactly,
including a monk on road development.
But why on earth do you need so many?
Yes, and then no, I'm saying they should not do that. That's really, people don't want this repeated mistake. So this is where people are unhappy.
They are, because they are unhappy. when we went to just outside Kurunegala, I mean, it wasn't even 5 kilometers interior in Kurunegala, we found a road that was absolutely pathetic. In fact, one lady who was having her labor pains, and she gave birth in the tuk because the tuk couldn't travel anything more than, I think, maybe 2 kilometers an hour.
And also in Gammadda we showed that certain people still survive on rainwaters, and where our channel is trying to help them.
Indeed, indeed. And in fact, we better let our viewers know that if you want to play a role and join us, do contact the Gammadda Secretariat within our network. They'll be happy to take your donations or to work with you. You're a corporate, they can work with you. All the possibilities, everything is possible. Do contact us, and you can play your own part, an important part, in the upliftment of the problems of the so-called forgotten people, the people of rural Sri Lanka. Very much part
how about a Newsline corruption reporting hotline for Newsline?
That's true. We should do that. That's a good suggestion, Bandula, and perhaps we will get whoever's in charge to allocate us a telephone number, a Newsline corruption hotline, so that you can phone.
Send us the files.
Send us the files. As you see, I've got no files today. I've only got my little notebook, and that's with Newsfirst. So we'll be giving you a number, and along with this right to information bill that's now become a law, we hope to make a difference.
Yeah, because we need photographs, we need videos, proof.
We need
not
proof.
just to attack people personally. That's
whatever you supply us, we assure you that we will investigate it thoroughly before putting it on. So it's not just some hit because you don't like the guy next to you or whoever.
And we also have Action TV, another thing which
that's right.
use, so which we can use this and help the people.
That's right. Don't forget that whistleblowing is very much part of a vibrant democracy. You whistleblow because you care for your country and for your fellow citizens. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
Butler, on corruption now, so we've had, shall we count? We've had the bond. Then soon after that we had the roads, the highways. I'm sorry, but it's the Prime Minister again. It is he who said that by looking at the contracts again, that they've saved 30 billion. That's absolute tosh, as it turns out later, because they didn't do it by stiffer negotiations or because the rate per kilometre was more. They did it by cutting down 2 lanes. And it wasn't 30 billion. It suddenly came out at 8 billion. And they then awarded part of that contract unsolicited to the same company that they said was at the centre of the storm, of the corruption storm. Now, it was unsolicited, but in March 30th, 2015, the Prime Minister sent a memo to all his colleagues, to all the ministers, saying that as a matter of policy, unsolicited bids should not be entertained. And that is precisely the opposite is what he did. They awarded.
Why do you think he's doing this?
Well, they have, the Minister Kabir Hashim, was the Minister of Highways, had a rational explanation for that. And that was that he said that there were legal impediments in getting out of that contract and they had no choice. So they were sort of in a bind. But at the time they ought to have explained it and not pretended that they were saving money by some stiffer negotiation and so on, casting aspersions on the previous administration. That's fine, but you need to be able to prove it. And that brings us to our third point. The people are not very happy, are they? Because they say, you talk to anyone on the road and they say, well, what corruption? They told us all these things. We believe them. But now there's nothing happening. We were sending people into remand and bailing them out, sending them in, bailing them out.
And they're enjoying the facilities as prison, hospital.
Yes, we had, as the gentleman on Stefan De Silva said on your Patikada this morning, even in the Australian prisons, there are dignitaries who arrive But I think he said they go out of their way to ensure that the dignitaries are treated precisely according to the book.
And he said that prisons are for sick people, not for rich people.
That's right.
And they don't have, he said that it's the only country which so-called privileged or rich people or politicians go to hospital when they go to prison.
Indeed.
And we have become the laughing stock because of that. I think that should stop first.
It is, but what do you do? The prison officials will say, well, the doctor says he's ill. We are not doctors.
Yeah, so they fall ill only when they go to prison. Now take the case of recent of the former Minister Basil Rajapaksa.
That's right.
He's outside, he's fine. The moment he goes to prisons, he falls ill, and the taxpayers have to pay for those medicines.
Perhaps from another point of view, perhaps they should have allowed him to have the march, participate in the march, and then see whether he was, what kind of explanation
that would have helped his health better. Walking is good for your health.
So we
but
have.
For us, I have another point. Now, you're talking of what the Prime Minister was saying and all these issues. But with that, okay, the right to information bill.
Yeah.
You think that will be helpful, or you think they'll hide information from us? That's the question we have to ask.
That's right. But the point is, Bandula, as we said on Face the Nation, which broadcasts on Monday nights at 9:30 and goes on to 11, and sometimes till 11:15. As we discussed last week, the right to information bill is very good. However, the government has to have an information officer at each of their institutions. Now, there is no specification as to what those qualifications of the information officer should or must be. Now, that, in my mind, is a serious lapse on the part of this bill, this government, not to do that. Because, Bandula, as you can well imagine, this is supposed to be a permanent job, pensionable. It will be the subject of great interest to the ministers in charge of the subject. They will say, oh, well, we'll put our guy, Mr. Lokubandara or Mr. Pereira or Mr. Fernando or Mr. Mohammed or Mr. Sivalingam, we'll give him that job. And it'll be, what I'm saying is the opportunity for corruption it's going to be about 2,000 jobs. There's 2,000 opportunities for the politicians to put their man in that job. And he may not have the necessary qualification or understanding.
And also for us, the others may not cooperate with him. I think maybe the president of the country should have the right. He should appoint the information
Absolutely.
officers. But they will try to block him and make life difficult for him.
Indeed. So that's a serious lapse, but it's a good starting point. A good starting point, and no doubt when the Prime Minister comes to write his book, he will list this as one of his achievements. Good.
But can we wait till he writes his books? And that's a long time more,
But this country, the people of this country are like Godot. We are all waiting for this. The war's finished and the economy is tottering along. It's spluttering along. And if you ask any minister, what they'll say to you is, but previously, we are not interested anymore. We gave them a vote and brought them in. The people expect them to deliver. Isn't that what you got when you were in your gun-mad programs?
Yeah, and definitely. And also the people who had crossed over, they have forgotten what they did. They have suddenly become saints.
That's right.
So, everybody, they had their faults. So at least you must learn to admit, yes, we make this mistake, now we are going to correct ourselves. So suddenly they are fine.
That's right.
There's no cases against them.
That's right. Well, Bandula, it's been absolutely marvelous catching up with you here on this lovely news set. And let's urge the public to whistleblow like you've never whistleblown before, because we've now got the Right to Information Act. Please contact us in absolute confidence if there's anything you feel is going amiss. Let us know and we'll follow it through.
Coming soon.
Newsline
hotline.
Newsline hotline coming soon. We hope to be able to announce that to you perhaps even tomorrow. Who knows? But thank you for watching. And Bandula, thank you for being on the program. Thank you for watching. Take care. Have a great day. And God bless.